Hey, welcome to one of my first tutorials. My name is Chief RBC, and this is a tutorial which I am doing on behalf of a friend of mine, and hopefully it will be the first of many to come. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to patch out the hand and how to create a low poly resolution using Maya's Quad Draw. Now, this video assumes that you know at least some things about Quad Draw, and at least you have some understanding of how to use Quad Draw. If you don't, I'll have to post another video for you and we'll see how that one goes. Anyway, if you can notice right here from the get-go, I'm just kind of setting up a few things, getting Quad Draw ready to go. First of all, you need a base hand model that you can work from. This one was one I downloaded and I'm just using for purposes of this demonstration. And you can see here on the start of it that I've actually created a few patches ahead of time using Quad Draw. Now, I like to patch out my hands like this just to begin with, so it gives me a base to work from. And as we go through this, you'll kind of see a few things. So first thing I'm doing here is I'm just kind of pulling together the fingers and kind of making them a little bit more so that they'll bend correctly. And I'm starting to snap together the edge. And what we're going to do here is we're going to snap together all these pieces, and we kind of want to make sure that we keep it as low as possible as we're going through this. Low resolution really helps us to see what's going on and to figure out things a lot easier. Our whole purpose in this is to completely quad the hand out. For those of you who don't know what that means, it means to keep everything perfectly in squares and that we have no triangles on our mesh. And so the reason we do this is, of course, just to keep a clean mesh. As you're creating your 3D models and things, you kind of want to make sure that things are as clean as possible. This isn't always possible to do, but on the hand, it's definitely one that we can easily make happen. So as you look here, what I'm doing is we're going through and kind of just making sure that things connect together. You're going to see here down the road that what I'm going to do is create a what would you say, kind of color code things so it makes it easier to see what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to let this kind of go forward and we'll come back and I'll talk a little bit more as we get down the road. Here you can see that I'm just basically going through and kind of cleaning up the fingers. Want to make sure that the joints bend correctly. 3 lines going around each joint really helps it so it bends and gets a nice deformation. And right here I'm capping off the ends of the fingers, and this is about where you should be. Take a look at the model as you're looking around it. Make sure that you've gotten enough information there, and you'll see that as I'm going through and cleaning it up, I want to finish off the thumb in the exact same manner in which we did the fingers and everything else. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into Hypershade for a moment, and you want to make sure that you have your object selected that you've created out of Quad Draw, and then hit the letters, or actually hit the buttons Control 1 to isolate them. That isolates everything save for what you want to see. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go inside the Hypershade and I'm going to create 4 Lamberts. We want roughly 4 colors here so that I can break it up. Now you don't have to do this. This isn't the part that's important to do. I'm mainly doing this so you can see how we're trying to keep edge flow together, and it just helps to break it up a little bit. As we go through this, you're going to see me kind of color code in these things, and it helps me to be able to see what's going on. Kind of wish that this was a feature inside of Quad Draw, so if any of you Autodesk people are listening to this or watching this, hopefully this is something that you can incorporate into Quad Draw. It would be much easier and better. That way you can kind of see which direction or which lines are coming together. And I'm just doing this for the purpose, once again, of the demo. So we'll watch this as it goes through. Okay, as you can see, we've got the hand colored. Now we're going to drop it right back into Quad Draw. And to get back all your hand and everything else, just hit Control 1 again, and that gets you out of isolation mode. But now if you look down here, underneath the settings in Quad Draw, I'm turning off the mesh color, which allows us to see exactly what colors we've set up ahead of time. This is going to help us so that we can know exactly which lines need to come together as we're trying to create it. Now right here in the hand, this is an area I like to start off with, put in a little bit of resolution inside there. Don't go overboard in this area, just make sure that you're putting enough that it makes a nice round area. As you can tell, I'm kind of pulling it off. Know that you're going to add more as time goes on. So this is an important step right here too. As you look here, watch how I'm taking the first 2 fingers from the very center and wrapping them around the hand. This gives really good deformation. Here I kind of messed up for a moment, and you'll see me correct myself by re-pulling that in and continuing it on. As we're moving down the hand, you want to try and consolidate lines in this way, and it helps you so that you don't have a ton of lines running up the sleeve and everything from the wrist up. Here I'm kind of cleaning up a little bit of the area, wrapping areas around, creating U-junctions, and just kind of getting it to come down to the knuckles. Now that I've got it down to the knuckles and we've got it finished, I want to go back and recolor code kind of so that you can see what we've done up to this point. Okay, now that we have it color coded, what we're going to do next is get out of isolation mode by hitting Control 1. And that's going to take us back out of there. You'll see our hand reappear. We want to make sure that we're in object mode, so we right click, go to object mode, and then hop right back into Quad Draw. In Quad Draw, we can now see which lines are matching up with which lines. And this is important as you do the top of the hand, especially because we're going to have to use a few things like Y junctions and U junctions. And you'll kind of see them here. We're going to do them mainly up here on the knuckles. You'll see a bunch of U junctions that I'm going to create here in just a moment. And as it goes through, I'm just trying to pull the knuckles backward to get them to a point where I need them to be. And now that I've got them, they're looking pretty good. All right, now we can start creating in some of these U junctions. Now I do this by putting a center right here, drop it down, lift that up towards the center, because you'll see how this is going to work with our going around on a U junction. Now a U junction is basically a line that comes all the way around the top. You'll see it right here. There you are, that's a U junction. You'll see how it creates a U shape coming down the knuckle. And this also helps to consolidate some of my lines that I need. And you'll notice now we went from several lines to much fewer. And we're going to keep doing that as we go down the hand. The whole purpose of this is to keep it quadded. Now I told you this area, we really want to save this area for last, mainly because this is where everything starts to come together. I added in an extra line because I needed it there. And I'm starting to pull it backwards and kind of shift lines around. And as we get here, I want to recolor code once again, just so you can see what we've done up to this point, how we've consolidated some of the lines out. And this will help you kind of see what you need to do in order to get these to work right. Here we go. I'm going to start doing what's called, consolidate a line right there. We have a 5-star point right there, which is just fine in this area. And then you're going to see as we get up here to the top of the thumb, or the very base of the thumb, because we have 3 lines coming in, I've got to find a way to consolidate a line there. So because I couldn't find one, I'm just going to bring the lines across here just so I can see what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden you're going to see that, oh, look, there. We now have an area where we can actually drop in a quad. You're going to see it over there towards the base of the thumb. And then, oh, there it is. Create it. There's a Y junction right there. And now I've consolidated some of the lines down and stuff like that, and now I can start moving it along. And I still need to keep consolidating, so I created another U junction right here and smoothing it out using the relax tool. If you don't know how to use the relax tool in Quad Draw, you just hold down the shift key and it will allow you to to relax a little bit of what's happening. So okay, we've created some nice little areas here, and notice once again we're creating some more U junctions in order to consolidate lines running down the hand. And what we had was tons of lines coming down, and now we're seeing that it's starting to consolidate even further. Okay, right here I've held down the B key that gives me the soft selection, and now I can relax with a soft selection. And now we got to go back here and just for a moment, and we're going to pull the hand straight back, and you can see, you know, even before we're done, that we have completely quadded out the entire hand. This works really well. It gives you a lot of resolution into the hand, enough that you're able to do stuff, and then enough resolution to go down the base of the hand. So I'm going to finish off here just by color coding again, just for your, you know, seeing what exactly was happening here and how we kind of held everything together. By the way, you can further consolidate down lines as you feel. There is nothing wrong with having triangles inside your hand, just as long as you're keeping them in areas that don't move a lot. But if you look here, we've quadded out our entire hand. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.